Hi folks, today we're going to be looking at the Voyages of Marco Polo, which is a new game from Hans and Gluck, and it's from the designers Daniele Tascini and Simone Luciane. You might know them as the creators of Zolkin. The game is for 2 to 4 players, and it plays in about 20 to 25 minutes per player. It's primarily a dice placement game, which you might be familiar with other games like the Castles of Burgundy or Kingsburg, but Marco Polo really kind of has a lot of its own unique flair going on. Thematically, the players take on the role of companions of Marco Polo and try to collect victory points by completing contracts, visiting specific cities to set up trading posts, as well as trying to be one of the first players to visit Beijing. And after 5 rounds of dice placement, the player with the most victory points is the winner. There's a lot of modularity in this game, a ton of components that can be replaced from game to game, including the new objective cards that you get, a variety of character powers, city actions that are placed on the board that are different every game, as well as city bonuses for visiting certain locations. I've set up the game for 3 players using the advanced setup, which just randomizes a few extra things. But let's just go ahead and start playing. I'll explain the rules as we go. So before we take our first moves to begin the first round of the game, as part of advanced setup, players get to select their characters for the game. Each character has some pretty good special powers which make the way you play the game quite different from other players that are out there. And so the way we do that is that the last player to start the game in the first round will be the first player to pick their character. So red is going to be the last player to start the game, and so they are going to be the first to pick, and I think in this case they are going to pick Rashid. And then green player was the second to start the game, so they are going to be the next to pick, and I think they're going to go with Johannes. And then I think what we'll do is the first player is going to go with Wilhelm von Rubruck. And so that means Burger Khan goes back in the box. So for the last part of the advanced setup, before we start the game, each player is dealt 4 of these objective cards, and they need to pick 2 of them to go forth with for the rest of the game, and the other 2 go back in the box. And so basically what these cards are used for is determining which locations you want to try to get to over the course of the game to receive extra points for. So we're just about ready to start the first round, but before we do that, players need to get their character bonuses at the beginning of the round, and we can see here that Johannes gets 3 coins, as denoted by the exclamation point on his character card. And nobody's got any trading posts out on the board yet, because they haven't taken any turns, but otherwise we would search the small town bonuses here to see who would get those. In this case, no one does, so we're going to give Johannes 3 coins, and then it's time for blue to start the game. So before blue can start taking actions this round, he needs to roll his dice and place them on his board. And we check the values here to see if he's rolled a higher value than 15, and in this case he has. He's rolled 15 exactly, so we take these dice and we put them on his board. We do the same thing here for green and red player. So let's see, we check green. So green has not exceeded 15 on their roll. They've got only 11 pips here. So for each pip that they've got under a total of 15, they get compensation of camels or coins. I think in this case the green player is going to take 3 camels and a coin. Blue is going to start the game by taking one of his dice and bringing it over here to the market. And he has to place it on one of these spaces here on the left. And he's going to get some camels, so he's going to place it here. Now, since he placed a 5 dice down, he gets to take camels in the 5 column or less. So no reason to take less. He's going to take 5 camels from the supply. So he comes over here, and we've got actually these small camels here, which are worth 1, and the bigger camels, which are worth 3. You can see the size difference there. And pretty much all of the rest of the resources work the same way. There's a large version of the pepper, the silk, and the gold. So in terms of the 5 here, we're going to take 2 1s and 1 3 and bring them back to the board here and put them in the spot. And after placing his dice, he's also going to take this 3 camel and use it to take an additional action, which is one of the things you can do on your turn. So he's going to spend that, and the additional action he's going to do is to take one of these black dice. Now you can only do that once on your turn, but when you take them, you immediately roll them. And here he got a 6, so pretty good roll. And then you just put it on your board for future turn use. Green wants to get some money to power some movement across the board, since his special power is that he can move from oasis to oasis, so he can kind of hop around the board to kind of teleport around. So what he's going to do is he's going to take this 1 die right here and bring it over here to this space and take 5 coins. So it's red player's turn, and his special ability is of Rashid Al-Din Sanan, which is basically that he does not have to roll dice. So he didn't have to roll dice at the beginning of the round. He's not going to need to roll dice if he gets additional black dice. And so as one of the ways to remember that, I always set his dice to 6, but really they can be any value. They could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. For Red's first action, they're going to take one of these dice here, bring it over to the favor of the Khan, and place it down in the first spot on the track. We block actually the first spot with a non-player die in a 3-player game. If this was a 2-player game, we would block it a second spot. But basically what this is saying here is we always have to place a die that is greater than or equal to the die that's already existing there. So there's a yellow 1, so we have to at least place a 1 there. Well, the red player placed a 6, so that means that any future players that place here have to place a 6 die. The benefit for placing at the favor of the Khan is to get 1 good of their choice as well as 2 camels. So red is going to take 1 gold and 2 camels from the supply. So they come over here, take 1 of these. They go over here and take 2 of these. Returning back to their board here, they put these down. And then after their main action, they're actually going to take an additional action. And the action they're going to take is to complete a contract. So the starting contract on their board, as denoted by this blue mark here, requires 1 camel and 1 gold to get 3 camels and 2 victory points. So they just so happen to have those 2 things. They're going to exchange them. So red picks up those 2 points and is the first player to accumulate points to start the game. And now afterwards, they come back here. They take the contract from their open contract space, flip it over, and put it in their open desk drawer like so. It's blue player's turn again. They're going to take this 1 die here, and actually bring it over here to get 5 money. So they have to place it over top of an existing die. So that means that they need to pay a cost to use this space that's already been used. And the cost that they pay is equal to the lowest value die that they've used. So in this case, they've used a 1 value die, so they're going to need to pay 1 of these coins to be able to activate that space, but they're going to get back 5 coins for the action. Following that, they're going to use another additional action to get a camel on this turn, so they're going to spend these 3 right here, send them back to the supply, and go ahead and pick up 1 of these, and they need to immediately roll it. They rolled a 5, goes on their board for future turn use. Green's up again, and they're going to make use of their special ability here, which allows them to teleport from Oasis to Oasis on the board, and they're going to be the first one to move. So what they're going to do is they're going to take this 3 and a 4 right here and bring it over to the movement track here. So you can see that the movement track requires 2 dice to activate it, so we put them right here. And looking over at the track, you can move anywhere from 1 to 6 spaces on a single move action. In this case, they want to move 3 spaces. To be able to move 3 spaces, they have to the minimum value of one of their dice here has to be 3. So in this case, they've got a 4 and a 3, so they're allowed to move up to 3 spaces, although they can decide to move 2 or 1 if they want to. Additionally, to move 3 spaces, they have to pay 12 coins. So we come over to their supply, and we take the 12 coins, and we're going to give them back to the bank. And then what we get to do is move their player marker from Venezia to the first Oasis, and since they get to teleport from Oasis to Oasis, they are going to move from this Oasis all the way across the board to this Oasis right by Beijing as their second movement of the 3, and then for their third, they're going to move to Beijing. So they're clearly just getting there way before everybody else. Now when you land in a city, you get to place a trading post, so they take that from their board over here in this spot here, the very first one, and they get to place it in Beijing on the spot that's worth 10 points. The rest of the players will have to settle for 7, 4, or 1 points if they get to Beijing. So the red player decides they're going to move as well. They don't need to roll their dice, so they can set them to whatever value they want. They're going to take these 2 dice here, they're going to change this one to a 1, change that one to a 1, bring them over here, and stack them on top of those, although that's going to fall over. Okay. And now, because they're using an occupied space, they need to pay the value of their lowest die there. So in this case, they need to pay 1 coin, so that goes back to the supply right here. And additionally, they're going to need to pay 3 coins, because moving 1 space costs an additional 3, so they'll send those back to the supply. By taking that 1 movement action, they can move from Venezia to Alexandria. We can see there's a bonus tile here. It awards them 5 gold for taking that. We remove it from the game, and they receive their 5 gold. Now that they're in Alexandria, they can place one of these houses from their board. So these are the trading posts. And so they will go ahead and place that right there. And then the trading post being active in Alexandria also lets them activate this action space on a future turn. only players that have trading posts in a city can activate the action spaces underneath the city. So we can see all these various cities have different actions that are different every game. Sumatra ends up having 3, so it's very valuable to get to Sumatra because it gives you some flexibility to do some multiple actions that other players may not be able to do. So in this case, red players unlocked the ability to place a die here and turn 2 camels into 1 movement, which is pretty great because movement can get expensive in this game. So blue's going to take this 5 and a 6 die and bring it over here to the market. The lower of the 2 values is a 5, so they can go as far as the 5 column. So they're going to get 3 silk, 1 coin, and 1 camel. Green is going to take this 5 die, bring it over to the market here, place it in this spot, and they're going to take 3 pepper and 2 coins. Before their main action, the red player is going to take these 3 camels and turn them in over here to get one of these remaining black dice. They don't need to roll it because they're the red player, and their special power is they don't need to roll anything. So they're going to take one of their dice. In this case, they'll take one of the red ones, and they're going to place it here to get 6 camels, but they need to pay 6 gold to get those 6 camels. So it's kind of a high price, but they want those camels. The blue player wants to complete this contract they've got here, but they're missing pepper. So they're going to take this 1 die here and place it on the market right here, and that's going to allow them to take 1 pepper from the supply and put it in here. They need to pay 1 coin to use that space, and now they've got everything they need to fulfill this contract. The contract will give them 5 victory points, so we'll move them up on the track like so. And they will also receive a new contract. So we'll take this one and we'll flip it over and put it right here on their board. And all new contracts come from this special stack that's set up here, so they have to take it blind, and their new one just goes on their board like so. So it's the green player's turn, and they only have 1 die left. So they're going to use it to go get a new contract. So they place it on this space here. And the contract action allows you to take 1 or 2 contracts from the row here. But you're only allowed to choose from the columns that are equal to or lower than the dice value that you place. So we've got a dice value of 2 here, so they can choose from the 2 or the 1. And in this case, they're only going to take 1 contract. They're going to take it from the 1 spot. So you've got 2 spots on your board for contracts. If you ever need to take a contract and you don't have enough space, you need to get rid of contracts that you've got. In this case, they've got enough space for 1. It's the red player's turn, and the last turn they used to get a bunch of camels, and this turn they're going to make good use of them. So they've got 6 camels. They're going to take one of their dice here, and they'll set it to a 3 just as an example, but they're going to use it to activate this space where they have a trading post. So by placing a 3 here, it means that they can do this action up to 3 times. So what they're allowed to do is convert 2 camels into 1 movement. So 6 camels into 3 movement. They're going to move their person 1, 2, 3 spaces on the board to Moscow, and for that they're going to get a bonus of a new contract. So that comes from this stack here, and we'll put that on their player board. And additionally, they're going to get to place one of their trading houses in Moscow. So we'll put that on the board. The blue player is going to take their last 2 dice and bring them over here to do a movement. And so they stack it on top. They're going to need to pay 4 coins. They are only going to decide to move 1 space though, so 4 coins plus the 3 for the 1 movement will cost them 7 coins. So we'll come up here, and we're going to see they're going to move down to Alexandria as well, because they really want to activate this space that the red player's got, because it's going to allow them to take a lot of extra movements. So they take one of their trading houses, and they can place it down here for a future round. The red player is the only player with any dice left, so they're going to take this and place it as a 6 on the favor of the Khan here. Now, they're allowed to place this dice here because it is a different color than the one that already exists here, because normally you're not allowed to place your dice color to activate a space more than once in a given round, but since they have a black die, they're allowed to do it. So for this, they're going to take 1 silk and 2 camels. So as we can see, everybody's player board is empty, there's no more dice left, so that signals the end of the round. The very first thing we do at the end of the round is we take all of the remaining contracts on display and we get rid of them. More aptly what we do is we take them and we put them at the bottom of this stack here. Next we take one of the remaining 4 piles of 6 contracts that signals round 2, and we're going to place them face up on this display. Afterwards, it's time to start the second round, and the very first thing we do is determine a starting player. That occurs by looking at who was the last person to move in the previous round, and we can see that it was the blue player because their dice are on top of the stack here. So the starting player marker stays with blue. Next we collect bonuses, and the green player is the only one that has a character bonus, and none of the other players have placed in a small town yet to receive a bonus. So the green player is the only one that's going to receive that, and that's 3 gold coins to them. Lastly, before we start taking turns again, all the players need to retrieve their dice from the board and re-roll all of them, except for the red player, who doesn't need to roll any of their dice. The black dice go back to the market right here to be claimed by other players. Blue rolls his dice for round 2, and we can see here that it looks like he hits 15 exactly. It's time for red to roll their round 2, and they are set. They have hit over 15. Blue's first action is going to be to take this 6 die and come here to the market and get 6 camels. They're then going to exchange one of these bigger 3 camel wooden pieces and use that to claim one of these black dice, so they have to immediately roll that. They get a 6, so pretty good. It goes back on their board, and that's the end of their turn. Green thinks they can complete this contract right here, so they're going to take this 1 die, bring it over to the favor of the Khan, put it on this first space, which it's equal to the existing die that's there, and they're going to take 1 gold and 2 camels. So we come over here, pick up 1 gold and 2 camels from the supply. Now, looking at the contract, we can see that they've got the pepper that they need, the gold that they need, as well as the 2 camels. So they exchange all of these things in, and for that they're going to get 4 points and 1 of the black dice. So because one of them are available, they take it, they roll it immediately. That was pretty weak, but they got a 6. And they take this right here, flip it over, put it here, and we also need to make sure we award them their points on the track. So they're going to move right to the 4 space. Red's got 2 camels, but they want to move to Anji. We can see here that on the path it has 3 camels listed, so in addition to the normal cost to move, they're going to need to pay 3 camels. So before they can get over to Anji, they're going to need to get some more camels, and the way they're going to do that is by blocking the favor of the Khan again. So they will take a pepper as well as 2 camels from the supply. Blue is going to take this black die that I got the last turn and use it to fill up the last spot on the favor of the Khan. For their resource that they're going to claim, they've got 2 silk here and they need 3 over on this contract, so they're going to take 1 silk, and they also get the normal 2 camels. And so after their action, they can take the additional action of completing a contract, so they'll pay 1 camel as well as these 3 silk to the supply here, and they can complete this contract. So getting a reward for that, they're going to get 3 points and 1 resource of their choice. Gold is pretty much the most valuable one, so they're going to go with getting a gold. Green's going to take this 5 and a 3 and use it over here to move 3 spaces. This is going to cost them 12 coins. So they're currently in Beijing. They're going to use their special power to move to this oasis, and then from this oasis they're going to teleport all the way pretty much back close to Venezia to this oasis for their second movement of the 3, and then for their third they're going to move to Samarkanda and pick up this bonus, which is an immediate movement. But before they do that, they're going to place one of the houses from their board, this trading post here, and then they'll take the additional movement that they got as a bonus to move right back to this space again, which is an oasis. Red wants to move to Anji, and so they're going to take 2 of their dice, they're going to flip them over, turn it to a 1 and a 1, and they'll bring it over here and stack those on top of these. That's going to cost them an additional 1 plus the 3 for the movement, so a total of 4. So they can move from Moscow to Anji. In addition, this is going to cost them 3 camels to move, but as a bonus, they're going to get 3 camels, not only right now, but in every future round due to that exclamation point. So they will take a trading post and place it on this space. Blue is going to spend a die to pick up 5 money. Green is going to use their 6 die here on an occupied space. They're going to pay 6 gold and get 6 camels. So we'll pick these up over here, put them on their board. They're going to immediately turn in 3 of those camels, the large one, put them back, and pick up 1 of these dice as an additional action. They roll it, they get a 1, not a very good roll. Red would like to move again. They got 4 camels, but we can see that they're already using the movement space. Thankfully, they unlocked this action space over here last round, so they're going to take 2 of their camels and give them up, put down one of their dice here. Really doesn't matter what value. They're just going to activate this once, so they'll use the remaining 2 camels as part of their movement to move from Anji to Karakoram. So they will move like this, and they will get this bonus of 3 coins and place a trading house there. Before their turn, blue is going to take their 3 camels, turn it in, take the last of the black dice, roll it, and they're hoping for a high value. And they did okay. So they'll put that on their board, and then now it's time to take their main action. For blue's main action, they're going to take these 2 3 die, set the pair of 3s, place it on the movement here. This allows them to move up to 3 spaces for 12 coins. They have to pay an additional 3 for using an occupied space for a total of 15. So they'll get to move their marker from Alexandria back up to Venezia as 1, over to this oasis as 2, and to Moscow as 3, and they'll get to place a trading house here. The green player would like to use their special ability to move from the oasis that they're currently at down to this oasis right here, and then move to Adana. To be able to do that, the fact that they've already taken a movement action with their green dice, they're going to need to use black dice here. But to be able to move the 2 spaces that are required, they would need a minimum value of 2 on both of their dice. So one of the additional actions that one can do on their turn is to use 2 camels, turn those in, and raise the value of one of their dice by up 1 pip or down 1 pip. In this case, you can't move a 1 down because you can't loop back, but they can turn it into a 2. So now they have a black 6 and a black 2, so they can take these and place them on the top of the movement stack here. So now in this case, this doesn't really denote their player color here because they placed 2 black dice, and in terms of determining the next round's starting player, the rulebook suggests that when you place 2 dice that are not your player color here, that you just sort of immediately take the token and that you can give it to another player if it changes, but this will help everybody remember. So they get to take 2 actions here, and for that they're going to need to spend a total of 7 plus 2 for 9 gold to move the spaces necessary. So they can teleport from this oasis to this oasis for 1 movement. They're going to need to spend 2 camels to move over here to Adana, and then they will immediately get 5 gold and place a trading house there. Red is going to use their last dice and place it here on the market, and they've placed a 6, so they can take 4 pepper, but they're going to choose instead to take 3 pepper and 2 coins. Blue would like to get some contracts, so they're going to take this 2 die, place it here, and they're going to take both contracts here, the 1 and the 2, and place it on their board like so. Afterwards, they take the remaining contracts and they slide them all down. Green uses their last die to come here. They're going to need to pay 2, and they're going to pick up a contract. They're going to pick up this one and fill in the space on their board here. These slide down. The red player has used all of their dice this round, so it's the blue player's turn. So they're going to take their die and take it to the market, pay 2 to get 2 sacks of pepper. This will set them up for the next round once they have additional camels to complete this contract here. Everybody's used up all of their dice, so that signals the end of the second round. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of these contracts and put them under this stack here. And then we can bring out the next set of contracts. We give each player their starting round bonuses. Green player will get 3 coins as a starting bonus for the new round, as well as 5 coins for their trading post in Adana. The red player is going to get 3 camels. Next we take all the dice and put them back in their proper spots. Blue rolls their dice. We can see here that they've exceeded 15. Green also rolls, and in this case they've just exceeded 15 as well. And as normal, the red player does not need to roll their dice. The green player starts the round off, and they're going to take one of their dice and place it on the favor of the Khan to take 1 gold and 2 camels. The red player wants to pick up a lot of money from this action space that they've unlocked in Karakoram, and that's going to allow them to move to Beijing. But to be able to do that, they're going to need some silk. So they're going to use their power of being able to make everything 6 if they want to, and go to the market and place these 2 down here and get 4 silk. The blue player wants to move towards Beijing, but to be able to do that, they're going to need to pick up more camels. They've currently only got 1, and we can see the road to Beijing requires at least 5 camels along the path that they're heading down. So they're going to take one of their 6 dice and place it here on the market to get 6 camels. The green player is going to take one of their camels and use it to re-roll one of these 2 dice, hoping to get a value that's a little bit higher. and it really didn't go their way in this case. So they're going to take a movement action, and they're going to use both of these dice to move a total of 3 spaces costing them 12 gold. So they're going to pay that gold, and they're going to move from Adana to this oasis, which will also cost them 2 camels, and then from this oasis over to this oasis for their second move, and for their third move, they're going to move to Lanzhou. That's going to get them a bonus of 1 resource of their choice, and in this case, they're going to pick up a silk, and they'll place a trading house in this city. The red player will activate this action space with one of their dice. They'll put a 6 down. They're going to activate it up to, they could go up to 6, but they don't have the resources, so they're going to do up to 3 times. So 3 camels plus 3 silk to 24 coins. Blue is going to use this 1 die to go ahead and pick up 5 coins over here. There's not a lot of things the green player can do this turn. Looks like the best one for them is to come in here and take this open spot and take 2 pepper. The red player would like to make it to Beijing this turn. To do so, they're going to have to take 1, 2, 3 movement actions. This space here will cost them an extra 5 coins to move over across that leg. So to be able to go on this move, they're basically going to need to set their dice to 3 and then place them on the movement track. By placing on an occupied space, it's going to cost them 3 gold plus the 12 gold to move 3 spaces, so that's 15, plus the 5 to move along this leg, so a total of 20. But thankfully on their previous turn, they picked up a lot of gold, so they've got their 20 right here. They can return those to the bank and move 1, 2, 3 spaces and place one of their trading houses here, and of course they'll place it on the 7 space. The blue player has been kind of struggling to move all game, but they're going to take a move right now. They're going to place a double 3 here on the movement track to move 3 spaces, which will cost them 12, and they need to pay that 3 extra, so 15. They're going to move from Moscow to Anji, Karakorum for their second, and then to end on this oasis. Now normally you only get to place a trading house if you end your turn on a location, but their character ability allows them to move through locations and place trading houses. So in this case, even though they ended on an oasis, they still get to place a trading house here in Anji and in Karakorum. There's no bonuses left, but they will get this bonus immediately for the small town, which is 3 camels, and they'll also get it at the beginning of the next round. Green uses their last dice to place on this space here. We can see there's an infinity symbol here. It's basically considered an additional action, but as many players as they want to can basically burn dice to get 3 coins. The red players used all of their dice, so it's the blue player's turn to finish out the round. They are going to take 3 camels, get rid of this, and get one of the black dice, the only player to do so this round. And this time they're going to roll it, and they're actually going to hope for a really low value. Didn't go their way this time. They will use their last remaining die to activate this action space here. They've only got 2 camels left, so they only get to activate it 1 time, but it's going to allow them to move 1 space. So they're going to use that to move from here across here, and they'll have to pay that extra 5 penalty. The round is over, so now it's time for the normal cleanup. The starting player is going to be blue because they were the last to move, so this is going to move over to them. And then now we need to collect any of the bonuses that we get from different locations. So we can see that the blue player gets 3 camels for being in Anji. The green player gets 3 coins for their character power, as well as the 5 coins in Adana. The red player gets 3 camels for their trading post in Anji. Now we need to put all of the dice back in the normal locations. The blue player rolls for the round, and their dice go all over the place, but they've far exceeded 15. The green player is going to roll, and in this case they've also exceeded 15, so they are good. Blue kicks off the round as per normal, picks up 6 camels, so they'll take 2 of these large camels here. Then they're going to spend 1 of the large ones to get a black die, just to get more actions here, and they put that on their board. The green player takes this 1 die and is going to take 5 coins from the bank. The red player is going to take one of their dice, actually 2, sorry, and place it here, and they are going to take 3 silk, 1 coin, and 1 camel. Blue player will spend one of their 2 die to place it right here. They're going to spend 2 camels to move 1 space. So they get rid of these 2 camels off of their board. And they're going to move to Beijing. And they'll place their trading post on the number 4 space. The green player is going to spend their 3 die here to choose between either paying a coin to get a camel or giving up a camel to get 3 coins. And they can't split the 3 pips between those 2 actions. They have to choose one or another. So they're going to choose to get camels for 1 coin each, so they'll get 3 camels. The red player is going to pick up one of their 6 die and place it here on the favor of the Khan and pick up 1 gold and 2 camels. They will then complete this contract by giving in 2 camels, 2 pepper, and a silk for 4 gold and 3 points. Put it on top of their stack. They move 3 points on the track. The blue player is going to start their turn by exchanging one of their 3 camels to get a black die. And they'll roll it. They get a 6, another good roll for them. They will then spend this 2 and this 4 here, bring it over here to the market, the 2 and the 4. To activate this space here, they're going to need to pay 2 to get 2 silk. The only place that the green player needs to get to on their objective card they haven't made it to yet is Ormuz, so they'd really like to move there. Using their remaining dice, they're going to take these 2 high dice here. They really only need to move 3 spaces, so it's going to cost them 12 to be able to move from 1 to this oasis, use their special power to move to this other oasis, and then spending 3 camels that they picked up previously, their 3rd move to get to Ormuz. They will immediately get 3 points, so 1, 2, 3, and they will get 3 points at the beginning of the following round, and they can place one of their trading houses in Ormuz, completing all of their objectives. The red player decides to pay 6 coins to get 6 camels. They then immediately pay 3 of those camels to get one of these black dice. They don't need to roll it, it just goes on their board. The blue player is going to trigger this action space right here twice to give up 2 camels and 2 silk to get 16 coins. The green player is going to take their last die and get 3 coins for it. The red player is going to use 3 camels to acquire the last of these dice. They don't need to roll it, but they will set it to a 6. And in this case, they're going to use a 6 here on the contract board, which allows them to choose from any of the contracts here. Now, these last 2 give bonuses if you actually acquire the contracts here. And in fact, you can get both bonuses, and so that's exactly what the red player is going to do. They're going to acquire both of these contracts and put them on their board, and they get to choose from a coin or a camel, as well as 2 coins and 2 camels. And in this case, they're going to choose 2 coins and 1 camel. The blue player would like to make it to Karachi. It's listed on their objective card as the last location they need to make it to. And for them to get there, they need to move through Jan all the way down to Karachi. There's no cost in camels there, so they just need to take a 3 movement. So what they'll do is they'll take these last 2 black dice, and they will place it here. And the 3 movement is going to cost them 12, plus 5 is 17, and they will be able to move from Jan to the oasis to Karachi. And now normally they would get a black die as a bonus, but we can see none are left for the round, so the bonus goes to waste. But they get to place one of their trading houses here in Karachi, completing the last of their objective. On the blue player's movement from Beijing to Karachi, they moved through Jan, so their special power actually activates. Red is next to go, as green has run out of dice. Red would love to be able to move from Beijing to Kashgar to complete their objectives, but they currently don't have enough money to be able to activate the movement action. Unfortunately for them, the blue player has activated some of the spaces that give you money, and only one player can activate one of these city location action spaces in any given round. Red's kind of out of luck for being able to move this round and complete their objectives. They'll have to do it in the final round. Instead, red will come up here to this action space here and decide to activate it a total of 3 times, spending 6 money, and they're going to be able to get 3 resources, and they're going to take 3 gold. For red's last action, they're going to move over to the favor of the Khan and place a black die. Even though they've already activated favor of the Khan this round using the black die, they're allowed to do it. And for that, they will pick up a silk and 2 camels. The round is now over, and we will set up for the final round of the game, taking that stack and populating the contract section. The blue player was the last to move, even though it was black dice, so they retain the starting player marker for the final round of the game. Blue is going to get 3 camels. Green will get 3 points, 5 coins, as well as 3 coins. Red also gets 3 camels. And it's time to put all of the dice back in the normal locations. Blue rolls over 15. So does the green player. The blue player will begin their turn by completing this contract for 2 camels, a gold, and 2 pepper, which will get them 4 points on the victory point track, which will bring them up to 12. This also gets them the top contract from the special stack. For their main action, they're going to take this value 2 die and place it up here, giving up 2 camels and 2 silk to get 16 coins. For the green player's first action, they're going to take this 6 die, place it on the market, and get themselves 6 camels. They're going to be able to use those camels to complete these contracts. They don't have quite enough resources here yet, but they can use those resources to complete one of these contracts right now, and the first one they're going to complete is going to be the one that gives them the black die and 5 points. The 5 points moves them from 10 to 15, and they take the black die and they immediately roll it, and they picked up a 3. Red will begin their turn by completing both of these contracts. They've got enough silk and gold and camels to complete both of them, and so collectively they will get 12 points as well as a black die and 4 camels back. Those 12 points will take them from 5 all the way to 17. For their main action, they'll take one of their dice and place it here on the contracts board, allowing them to choose from all 6 spaces. In this case, they want the bonuses, so they're going to take both of these and place them on their board, replacing the contracts they just completed. For that, they get to choose from these bonuses here, and they're going to choose to get 3 camels. As the last part of the red player's turn, they're going to exchange those 3 camels they just got to get one of these dice. They don't need to roll it, so it just goes straight on their board. The blue player takes their 2 die and places it here to receive 5 coins from the bank. The green player activates the favor of the Khan to get a gold and 2 camels. The red player also decides to activate the favor of the Khan, and they are going to take a gold and 2 camels. They will also buy the last remaining black die for 3 camels. The blue player wants to be able to place a few more of their trading posts, but to be able to do that, they're going to need more camels. So they are going to go here and pay 5 coins to get 5 camels. The green player has a plan to complete some more contracts, but to do that, they're going to need to pick up some more silk, and so they're going to pick up 3 silk by activating the market. And now they have what they need to complete this contract: 3 camels, a gold, a silk, and a pepper. This will get them 1 resource of their choice. They'll take a gold, as well as 6 points. So they will leapfrog red. The red player also wants to be able to complete some of their contracts, but to be able to do that, they're going to need gold. So they're going to take these 3 dice here, take them to the market, and put them in this space here, and at value 6, it allows them to pick up 4 gold. Returning to their player board, we can now see they have everything they need to complete both of these contracts. So for some additional actions, they're going to complete both of them, picking up a total of 12 points, as well as 2 movement. If we come over to the board here, we can see that they are in Beijing, so they're going to move to this oasis, and then they're going to move to Sumatra. They will need to pay 4 camels to be able to do that. Luckily, they've got 4 camels, so they're good. And they get the bonus immediately, which is 2 gold, and they get to place one of their trading houses here in Sumatra. It's a little late for them to be arriving here. Most of these actions would have been great to have a little bit earlier in the game, but it's still good to place one of their trading houses down. The 12 points they get for completing those contracts takes them all the way to the 29 space on the board. The blue player is going to take their last 2 dice and bring them over here to the movement track, and they're going to be able to move up to 3 spaces because their lowest value is a 3, but in this case they're only going to need to move 2 spaces, so they will pay 7 coins. They're going to move from Karachi to this oasis, and from the oasis to Kochi. They'll need to pay 4 camels, which they've got. They'll immediately get a camel back as well as 3 coins, and they get to place one of their trading houses in Kochi. So they take it off of their board and place it here. This reveals a space on their board with a 5-point value icon next to it, so they immediately get 5 points for placing that trading house. So they move from 12 to 17. The green player is going to place this black die right here on the contract space, and they will take this contract and put it onto their board. They've already got everything they need to complete the contract, so they will just go ahead and take an additional action to do that right away. So they give up this pepper and the 2 silk, as well as the 2 camels, to get 4 points and 3 coins. Green is going to move from 21 to 25. The red player is going to use one of their remaining dice to activate the favor of the Khan here, and they can do that because it's a black die. And so they're going to pick up a gold and 2 camels. The blue player is out of dice, so it's the green player's turn, and they're going to come to the market here and place the 6 to pick up 4 pepper, which will be worth 2 points to them at the end of the game. The red player is the only player with dice left, so they're going to be able to use these in successive turns. So they're going to come here and place this here as a 1. They see an opportunity to complete this contract here, so they will take that and put it on their board. Slide these down. They've already got what they need to be able to complete this contract, so they'll go ahead and do that now. It's going to get them 7 coins and 9 victory points. They move their marker from the 29 space to the 38 space here on the track. For their last move, they're going to take their last remaining die and place it here on this action space in Sumatra. Now what this says here is that for every placed trading house, they're allowed to get 2 coins, and they've got 6 pips here, so they can do 6 trading houses to 2 coins. That's 12 coins. In this case, they could only do that if they've got 6 trading houses, and here we can see they do by the amount of empty spaces on their board. Since every 10 coins is a point in endgame scoring, these 12 coins they've picked up here have helped them get an extra point on their last move. It's the end of the 5th round, and so that means we're in endgame scoring, so it's time to tally up each player's score. The categories that we score are objective cards first, and then we're going to score for the amount of remaining coins, for trading posts players have in Beijing, and then for every 2 goods that they have. And it's worth noting that camels are not considered goods. And then we will look at who has the most completed contracts on their desk, and we will award that player 7 victory points. And after that, we can take a look at the scoring track and see who was the winner of the game. The blue player needed to place trading houses in Karachi and Anji to get 7 points on this card, which they did. And on this card, they needed to place trading houses in Moscow and Xi'an for 4 points, which they also did. So they're going to get a total of 11 points for those cards. In addition, they've placed trading houses in 4 different cities listed on objective cards, so that'll get them an additional 10 points, so a total of 21 points. It's the same story here for the green player. They needed to place in Lanzhou and Ormuz for 6 points, Samarkanda and Adana for 5 points, so they're going to get 12 points plus the 10 for having 4 different cities, and so they're going to get a total of 22 points. The red player also completed all of their objectives. They needed houses in Moscow and Kashgar for 7, and Alexandria and Anji for 4, and they will also get that bonus 10 points, so they will get 21 points. It's now time to score points for remaining extra coins. Every 10 coins gets you a point. The blue player only has 7 coins, so they get no points. The green player here has 15, so they'll get a point, and the red player has 25, so they will get 2 points. Looking at Beijing here, we can see that the blue player got 4 points, the red player gets 7, and the green player gets 10. The green player is the only one that has any remaining goods in pairs. They've got 3 pairs, so they are going to get 3 points. Last, we reward the player who has the most completed contracts. In this case, blue has completed 3, the green player has completed 4, while the red player has completed 7, so they will get this 7-point bonus. Blue player ends the game with 42 points, while the green player gets 61, and the red player triumphs here with a total of 75 points. So in the end, it was a pretty lopsided result, but I hope the playthrough was able to kind of give you an idea of if this game is for you. I really like it. I think that it's definitely a gamer's game. You can tell with all of the options, and certainly the fact that the replayability is really high, the components are great, the artwork is excellent. Dennis Lohausen is just a really top-class artist, and you can see it with all of the components here. The whole production team did a really good job on the game. Everything's highly usable. It's just a really good package if you're a strategy gamer, and if you like Euro-style games, or if you just like rolling dice and playing with different character abilities. It's a really fun game. Thanks for watching.